the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience, locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
News Talk STL. This hour of the Allman Report brought to you by STL Fenceworks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
Oh, give me land, lots of land under starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in. Just turn me loose, let me straddle my own saddle underneath the western skies. On my cayuse, let me wander over yonder till I see the mountains rise. I want to ride to the ridge where the west commences, gaze at the moon until I lose my senses. I can't look at hobbles and I can't stand fences. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Allman Report on this beautiful Thursday. It's Jamie Allman here, Ashlyn over there, and yeah, I was getting yelled at by somebody who looked like Shrek out in the hallway because I was not showing up in time, but I don't know who it was, but it's not that I'm late. I just let the theme go to let everybody sink in. You know how long it takes to make a martini around here? Come on, people. Not everybody gets all of a sudden bright-eyed but ready to go. I just woke up. No, I didn't. I was busy. Coming in here on Thursdays sometimes is a burden, I have to tell you. It's someday I'll tell you. It'd be better if I walked in earlier, because if I walked in earlier, then I would have time for the other distractions. But I come in and I am hell bent on getting stuff going, and so that's just how it goes. Hey, how about check this out? So it looks like American Airlines is going down the tubes, and I'm gonna have a guy on. I think Lou's gonna join me at 12:20. And because he's like a TWA aficionado, and for a lot of people in St. Louis, the demise of American Airlines, or especially people who remember TWA, the demise of American Airlines really isn't anything they're sweating a whole lot over, because we all remember the whole Carl Icahn thing, and I mean, and I loved they have this really. When I took Natalie to see Ed Sheeran at Arrowhead a couple of years ago in Kansas City, we got there because I made sure we got there in time to go to the TWA museum in Kansas City. I don't know whether you guys have ever been there, but it is absolutely fantastic. It is amazing. They've got piece slices of TWA airplanes and cockpits and all the paraphernalia and the uniforms and everything else. It's so cool. And I've always loved TWA because, I have great memories of it flying around with my dad. And also when my dad was working and picking him up from the airport, and it was TWA was like the bomb, that and Pan Am, right? And TWA was amazing because it kind of just had this. It had this feel. It had this really, and it was the hub here was here in St. Louis, and so when American Airlines and Carl Icahn got involved, they just kind of erased everything, and the rest is history. I've always loved TWA, so I have, for instance, in my little, what do you call those things? What do you call the things where you have teacups and china and stuff in there? China cabinet? I don't know. Well, anyway, I managed to get a bunch of this TWA stuff. Like somebody gave me a bunch of TWA silverware. And so I've got all this yeah, you're like airplane silverware. Yeah, back in those days, yeah, they had so you got food with silverware. And then I also have, which is really kind of fun, I have a TWA coffee cup, with the saucer and everything else. It's so cool. I love it so much. And it's sitting up there with all my grandmother's teacups and things like that. But TWA is awesome. And I'm going to have Lou on because we're going to talk that. We're going to talk Pete Rose, Hall of Fame. We're going to talk gambling in the major leagues. And we're going to talk about, already St. Louis is considering trading Donovan. So there's another player that we're going to have to watch in the playoffs someday. Alec Burleson is probably next. The Cardinals are really making a huge mistake. And so it's not fun watching this happen, but it is what it is. So we'll follow up on all that. And then at 1:00, got the great Tim Jones going to be coming in because we're going to talk about, thank you, Sally, China Hutch or Allison, curio cabinet. Yes. Curio. Well, the curio cabinet, I actually have one of my mom's curio cabinets. It's like a thing you can hang on the wall. She put like Hummels in there. Like, people used to collect Hummels all the time. Anyway, we're gonna try to see if we can position ourselves for 2026 and what we need to do. In the meantime, I want to have a little fun because I ran across these and I haven't seen too many women who do Kamala Harris imitations. And suddenly they're popping up all over the place, and some of them are really good. Like this is some woman who and it's under the headline Kamala Harris weighs in on the shutdown. Oh, hang on. Okay, hang on.
Took math classes. Clear here. Okay. I grew up in a middle class family where we took math classes. Okay. Kamala, I saw where you posted this. Why? Why do you do this stuff? It's so ignorant. Hold on one second. I'm not even going to read the first part. It says, let me be clear. Republicans are in charge of the White House, House, and Senate. This is their shutdown. Listen, Kamala. Okay. It's annoying to hear your voice, so I'm not going to read it all. Hold on one second. Okay. The math ain't math then, Kamala. Okay. The math ain't math then. Let's be very clear here. Okay. I think your brain is in the cloud. Okay. And if you're going to be on a book tour, then you should probably see if you can charge it with your USB ports on your bus. Okay. Oh, my bus. I love it. But listen, Kamala.
She's really good. I mean, she really does a great job, especially with all the different nuances and things like that. She's good at this. I mean, it's pretty fun to listen to.
That it took 60 votes. So we needed Dems to vote. Okay. You're not getting it. It's not clocking to you, Kamala. It's not clocking. Okay. Have a great day.
Yeah, it's really. And then this is another chick. She's pretty good too. Listen to this one.
It really, the book is about reflection and that day, right? And that interview for me really was symbolic of the issue, and it was not. It did not create the issue, but it was symbolic of the issue. Right. And I covered
so it's really funny. For some reason, obviously, there aren't too many men who did it. To the extent to which I would do it, I would just hold my nose and talk like this. That was pretty much it. But they seem to get all the nuances and the little things that she does that are so annoying and make her come across as being so vacuous. But but that little head bob is really funny.
This
So
in the book. Doug, that's my husband, Doug. He went upstairs and basically he went in the shower.
okay, so Sally, you think number 2's better? Okay, yeah, I guess I thought number 1 was pretty good, but you think number 2's better? Yeah, I guess you're right. You see, this is number 1. I didn't know we were going to have a little game show here for the 3 martini lunch, but Sally seems to has decided she was going to create one. So I'll play with you. Yeah. This is the first one.
We took math classes. Okay. Kamala, I saw where you posted this. Why? Why do you do this stuff? It's so ignorant. Hold on one second. I'm not even going to read the first part. It says, let me be clear. Republicans are in charge of the White House.
Okay, so that's the first one. And then this is the second one.
And he prayed. Okay. He prayed that it was not going to be a bad night. Well,
Anyway,
listen, it really, the book is about reflection.
okay, yeah. So we get the picture. Yeah, I think. So Allison thinks number 2 as well. Okay, yeah, I guess. I mean, I think number 1 has the nasally type of thing going that I think is really good. So I at first thought number 1 was the best, but you guys you're listening. I'm watching, but you're listening, and maybe that's changing it. And Ryan thinks number 2 as well. All right, well she wins the prize. All right. Speaking of other ditzes, this is really funny because the thugstress Jasmine Crockett, right? Hailing from St. Louis. Yeah, you just are luck. Anyway, she's literally standing next to a 7-foot-tall trans dude while she's making fun of the way women who are in MAGA dress and do their makeup and whatever, Botox or what have you.
Okay, a lot of the MAGA women receive gender-affirming care, such as lip fillers, breast augmentation, etc. Why do you think they are so against gender-affirming care for trans people?
Well, by the way, that's really, the idea of having breast augmentation is really not gender affirming care, but you gotta really have almost unlimited time on your hands to come up with that stupid analogy. But anyway, so imagine this, picture this. So it's Jasmine Crockett. I'm not quite sure whether Jasmine Crockett is a little mini thugstress. I'm not sure how tall she is, or the trans person is a gigantic 8-foot-tall trans person. Either way, if you could get the visual that she's standing right next to a trans person with a gigantic thing of pink hair and obviously fake breasts and everything else and weird eyelashes, and she's declaring that MAGA women are the ones who are ridiculous.
You know you want to say it.
Okay, so I have this thing where, like, a MAGA woman when you see one.
1000%.
They all have a look,
Big
right?
back,
She's standing next to a trans dude. She's standing next to a transvestite.
But they lips be up to anyway. That's a whole other issue. But yeah, they don't even know, because when that was brought up on the House floor, because there was a discussion about this on the House floor. They were like, how dare you say we use, and it's like, no, that's exactly what y'all do. Y'all just didn't realize that that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, and she's being roundly mocked all over the internet. And finally, since this is a segment devoted to ditzoids, we might as well go ahead and also notice that apparently we've got AOC, who is giving speeches in bars. And the funny thing about this is that on Twitter, they're all saying that, well, after listening to her speak here, there's a debate between her and J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio. Oh, my Lord, she wiped the floor with him, right?
About running in 2018 and machine politics in New York City. There's too much money. There's too much relationships. It's too long-tailed. Don't even bother. Don't even bother because it's just the deck is stacked too high.
Yeah, okay. So you get the picture there. And then finally, a ditz of another kind, and this is another Kennedy. Now, keep in mind that the people who are all marching in No Kings rallies are suddenly positing this idea that another Kennedy should run for office. These are people who have called literally the Kennedy family the royal family. And of course, with the exception of inbreeding, which I'm not quite sure is actually that far off the table with the Kennedys, they are treated like the royal family and act like that, because who else could be who could drown their girlfriend and still be put forth as a possible nominee for president on the Democrat ticket. And that was Ted Kennedy in 1980. Anyway, JFK's grandson, Jack Schlossberg, has announced that he is going to run against Jerry Nadler, and all these videos are popping up with him in them, which really reinforces how truly amazing the Kennedys are.
She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride, but she don't care.
Yeah. You guys get the picture, don't you? You sure do. Happy Thursday to all of you and yours. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. The great Lou TEVLIN, my brother, going to be joining us in just a few minutes. It's Common Sense Radio. The Allman Report on News Talk STL.
News, analysis, opinion.
It almost seems common sense, but, alas, common sense isn't so common these days.
News Talk STL.
The GeminiWealthGroup.com. Oh, I got to tell you. First of all, I appreciate the fact that these guys have said, hey, we want to be with you another year, because that's really super important, because we love your show, and because we have people who listen to your show who have become our clients, and we love, oftentimes in this business, especially, in retirement, but I find that with all the people that sponsor the Allman Report, and I've got plenty of them there, but top to bottom, they all talk about the quality of the Allman brand listener. And by that, it's people who pay their bills and who are good at who listen, who are good at what they do and are engaging. And when I say listen, meaning, advice or what have you, and who are just good people. And so thank you for all of that. And the Gemini Wealth Group has noticed. And so they are now going to be with us yet another year of supporting free common sense conservative radio. And so you can thank them, if you haven't already, by getting on board with their retirement plan, which is going to be really, really super important for you when it comes to making sure your golden years are your best years. And that's going to be a big deal. Now, there are people who are living 20, 30, even 40 years past their retirement age, which is great news. So if you imagine at 55, if my mom retired at 55, she would have lived 40 more years because she passed away at the age of 96. So it happens, and it's a big deal. And so 40 years goes by fast, but you need to make sure you're shored up, need to make sure that you have a proper diversity of your investments. And I mean diversity in terms of targeting really good stocks, some that will give you dividends where you don't even have to touch. your core. You just are living off the dividends. And so all that kind of stuff, long-term planning, everything else, the Gemini Wealth Group is there for you. The GeminiWealthGroup.com.
Now, the Free Market Minute, brought to you by the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
Hey, it's Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show, and I'm here with Dr. Grant Black. And Grant, does having more economic freedom make a difference in people's lives, such as maybe helping reduce poverty?
It definitely makes a difference. Economic freedom is critical for fostering well-being and prosperity. It enables people to make their own choices and pursue their own interest, like choosing careers, starting businesses, and innovating to make the world better. It thrives in environments that empower people, promote competition, and protect property rights, all while being supported by limited and healthy government. Economic freedom is a catalyst for generating higher incomes, greater wealth, more opportunities, better access to education, and improved health at all levels of society. It makes a difference.
The John W. Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University fosters and examines market-oriented approaches to economic and social issues. To learn more, visit hammondinstitute.org.
Winter's coming fast. Is your furnace ready? Johnson Heating and Cooling is here to help. Get our complete furnace checkup for just $99. We'll check for gas leaks, inspect electrical connections, and examine your flue to keep your family safe and warm. We service all brands of equipment, and we're fully licensed and insured. From furnace maintenance to air conditioning service, new installations to repairs. Call 636-332-4141 or visit johnson-heatingandcooling.com.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new News Talk STL app.
On my way to work in the morning.
Usually I'm in the car.
I listen on the app in my car every morning going to work.
Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Thursday to all of you and yours. It's the Allman Report, the 3 Martini Lunch, Common Sense Radio. I finally caught up with Ryan, who on the page. You guys are. I love your senses of humor. He says you have to find the video of a trans guy, obviously pretending to be a woman, who was upset on Halloween at a white woman dressing as a Native American. I mean, it just doesn't get any stupider than that. He put the link on there. I can't really download it. It's on this computer here, but he says it's a better watch than a listen. Yeah, I bet it is. Golly. People on the left they're like collectively like they're flat earthers. They just and they call us anti-science. Golly. Like they have no self-awareness whatsoever. Like they're like saying these such hypocritical things, and you're like, dude, you know what you're saying? What? What do you mean? Like, God, you have no idea how dumb you sound. And it's like they're like, oh yeah, the shutdown's the Republicans' fault, and most people are like, no, it's not. Okay, well, and then they walk away. It's like they just try everything. It's called spitballing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I was notified by airline industry expert Lou TEVLIN.
I wouldn't go that far. No way.
I know, but dude, you're the best. So I've always known your affinity for TWA, and I was I'm sure you have been to. Although the pictures you sent me, is that from the Kansas City Museum or somewhere else?
No, it's JFK. The terminal that was TWA's. It was designed by Aero Sarin, the same guy that designed the arch in St. Louis. He designed the JFK terminal for TWA, and it's super futuristic, and they've turned it into the TWA Hotel.
Oh, yeah.
So it's really cool. It's really cool.
Man, I'd go there. I'd go to New York just to stay there.
Absolutely. There's shoe shine stands from TWA, the Ambassadors Club, all the great things at TWA back when they smoked on airplanes.
I know, buddy. Man, and have you been to the one in Kansas City yet? Because it's really.
No, I haven't. The last time I was up there, I went to, and I also, if you're going up there for the TWA Museum, I heard you talk about, it's great. Go to the Negro League Museum too. It is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
I was going to go to that too. We didn't get there quite in time to cram all that in, before the concert. And then these places are closed on Sunday. The TWA thing's closed on Sunday for some reason.
Yeah.
But I'll have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's worth taking your time, so you didn't want to rush that anyway.
Yeah, I've
But
got
TWA. My mom worked for TWA for 27 years, and when I sent you this thing about American Airlines cutting middle management and all this stuff, I had to send it to you because it's, my mom, even back in the 70s, she was saying that TWA, which was Howard Hughes Airline, always first class. They always had the best routes. Basically, you mentioned Pan Am and TWA. TWA had the best routes around the world, east to west. Pan Am had the best routes north to south. So North America, South America, Europe to Africa, those kind of, Far East to Australia. TWA had the best ones. And my mom always said that, it's not a fair playing field because American Airlines was subsidized by Congress because it's like the official airline back in the day of the United States. So, congressmen and everybody probably flew for free. And if you ever saw the movie Aviator, you'll see Howard Hughes up against Congress. And they're trying to destroy the guy because he wouldn't play their game.
Yeah.
And so TWA was always a target. And then you mentioned Icon. He wasn't associated with American Airlines. He bought TWA out of bankruptcy after Howard Hughes died and started selling off the parts. That's
gotcha. Okay.
Investment guys done. So he sold off the gates at Heathrow and airlines bid for best times from St. Louis nonstop to London, Heathrow. He'd sell that. He sold it off. It doesn't exist anymore. But back when that St. Louis swing, as you talk about, was vibrant, those were very valuable commodities, and Icon helped dismantle it. TWA, and then when Flight 800 was shut down over New York, that was really the end for TWA.
Yeah, I remember that because when I was covering that for Channel 4, we went to Clayton because TWA's offices were right there in Clayton, man. It was crazy.
Yeah. It was world headquarters in St. Louis. In fact, they used to be down at the Mansion House, is where my mom worked in the reservation.
Oh, wow.
For a long time. When downtown St. Louis was, bustling.
Yeah. So
they had
it's interesting too, because one of the things I discovered, because I want to get more into what is to become of American Airlines, but one of the things I learned at the museum, and I didn't really realize this, but Charles Lindbergh was originally like Lindbergh Airlines or something like that. And then when all the Nazi stuff came out, they decided they better kind of move him out to whatever it is and create more of the Trans World Airlines. But originally Lindbergh was
yeah. I mean, heck, here in San Diego, the airport's named, it's Lindbergh Field.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, cause he'd fly mail from here, but the financial backers were Spirit of St. Louis, were, obviously in St. Louis, but
yeah,
of course, Howard Hughes, any way to take down Howard Hughes, not unlike what they do to Trump now, anybody around him, Lindbergh included, despite the fact that he's a hero, they take him down.
Yeah, no doubt. So I guess technically, TWA, I mean, it for a lot of people, and I'm not quite sure what your mom thought of this. I can imagine though, for a lot of people, it was like, how could you possibly destroy such an iconic brand? Purposely run it into the ground.
Well, they saw the value of its parts rather than the whole. They didn't value the whole.
Yeah.
They how Icon started dismantling it basically. So it was limping down the road, and then the vultures from other airlines, came in and took it over. But of course, it was heartbreaking because when in fact, you talked about the TWA crystal in China. My little sister Amy Myers has a whole collection of it. I mean, it's real silver, real China.
Yeah,
as you know, because everything was first class with TWA. It was the swinging, styling, first class way to go.
Right on.
And it's really, really tragic. And they did a lot of charity work too. My mom works for Operation Liftoff, was much like Make-A-Wish.
Yeah.
Where they fly families and kids with cancer to destinations that they wanted to. So it's a real loss for St. Louis and just a iconic era.
Mark is asking me if I have an armrest with the ashtray from TWA. I do not. And if you're asking me because you're going to give it to me, I will gladly accept it. I don't know why you'd give that away, but if there's something you wanted to kind of throw away, then I'd have it. I'll take it. That's how I got all my TWA silverware, is talking about on the air, and then suddenly the silverware appeared, so kind of crazy.
Absolutely.
So
it was special airlines. I mean, you take nonstop flights from St. Louis to London, Shannon, Ireland, Munich, everywhere.
Yeah.
Spain, Paris. It was really special. Great era.
So American
Airlines. I don't know if American Airlines going under yet, but they're just saying they had. They were one of the airlines that got 13. I just did a quick when you told me to come on. The airline industry, they got like $63 billion in COVID relief, and only 19 is supposed to be paid back. Not paid back yet, just supposed to be paid back. So, and American Airlines made $13 billion in the third quarter. Yeah, that was your summer travel, and they're claiming $114 million in losses now. So, I don't know. They just all those those executives all got paid during COVID.
Yeah, of course.
All of us were scrambling. They were essential. So maybe some of them get some accountability, but somehow I don't think they will.
So
because when they came in, the executives that came into TWA when they absorbed what was left of TWA, all those pilots who had years of seniority went to the back of the line. American Airlines treated TWA employees terribly. Disrespected them across the board. No seniority valued. You're back of the line and you're like second-class citizens. So it's no surprise that TWA ended up going under.
Yeah, no doubt. And speaking of running down brands, I mean, I saw you'd pointed out today. I saw something also in the news about not Alec Burleson, but Donovan with the Cardinals possibly on the trading block. And I'm like, is this another player that we're going to have to look at playing in the playoffs? What's wrong with these people?
Well, they didn't ask me, but since you are, I'll just say that I Hein Bloom, the new GM, handpicked by Mo to take over his role. What he just said this week about Nolan Arenado, I don't understand it. Like he devalued Nolan Arenado. He couldn't have devalued him anymore in the public by saying, well, he's well past his prime. He can't play at a Gold Glove level anymore. Why would you say that? What are you going to get back from a team if Nolan actually agrees to go to either here in the Padres or the Dodgers because or the Angels? He only wants to play in California because he's from here. Why would you say? I don't understand that. Hein Bloom's the same guy that traded Mookie Betts from the Red Sox to the Dodgers because he couldn't get a long-term deal done. It's just those kind of comments. I'm not surprised now that he didn't get a long-term deal done. Mookie then goes to Dodgers and wins 3 World Series, 2020, the shortened season, 2024 and 2025.
Yeah. Wow. I
don't know. I can't answer it. I can't. I don't. I mean, it's not just they slowly strangled the golden goose of the St. Louis Cardinals, and then it's limping down the road if it's even. I mean, I saw a video of a friend of mine from my Cub Scout. He's now a judge, but a friend of mine from Cub Scouts sent me. He was there because he heard about the '85 reunion. So he got his kids tickets as soon as they announced it. They got there and he did a pan of the Busch Stadium. It was empty for the '85 World Series team reunion.
Wow,
that was stunning, just jaw dropping.
Yeah, I mean, It really, really, absolutely is. I mean, I'm sure, maybe some of it had to do with bad memories of 85. I don't know, but still,
No.
I mean, Cardinal Nation loves these guys. They were all those guys are, they were in the World Series. They're amazing.
Right. They're the most exciting team to watch with Whitey Ball, those base stealers from Vince Coleman, who lives out here in Rancho Santa Fe, to, Vince and Ozzie and Mitt Willie. I mean, the way they played ball was exciting. It wasn't boring like the game is now, where they basically turned it into a computer game.
Yeah.
With people upstairs trying to, pull the strings during the game.
Yeah.
Like Xbox.
Yeah, I know, man.
Crazy.
That's bad. And then, of course, we all remember Quarter Barrel Daryl, right? We used to call him.
Yeah.
Quarter Barrel Daryl Porter. He's good. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
So, so we had, so we have all this gambling stuff going on, and but before I get to that, I really, I don't, when people are all like going, well, the Dodgers bought their team. It's like, yeah, so what? I mean, I don't understand why that's an argument for people, especially baseball fans, to complain about baseball teams spending money on good players.
Well, like any business, it's a risk versus reward. Some risks pay off, some risks don't. The Dodgers took the immense risk of paying a price to acquire the rights to negotiate with Ohtani and these other guys, and then had to pay him. But the Dodgers did a great business deal. Stan Kasten, who I know from Atlanta, is there now, and his whole team did a great deal. And the thing is that other franchises won't take that risk, that bigger risk. And you watch, after the 26th season, they're going to lock out the players and call it a player strike again, because they want a salary cap. Okay. And nobody's making these owners pay. I mean, players and agents, a longtime agent, we can ask whatever we want. Doesn't mean you have to pay it.
Yeah.
But they can't control themselves. Control themselves. And the Dodgers had the foresight, unlike the NFL and NBA owners who split everything collectively, MLB owners have never trusted each other. So the Dodgers, they've never opened their books to the players to show them, okay, we're taking these kind of losses. And no doubt teams are losing money because of a lot of factors. The Nationals and Tampa Bay, they're losing their home and all that. But like the Dodgers, who knows how much money they're making in Japan for the television rights and all the merchandise. They probably made $700 million to pay Ohtani already from these World Series appearances, the broadcast rights in Japan, and a ton of revenue coming in from sources they created.
Yeah,
by their risky move. So
yeah, I mean, I think that it's just, I know that there's an issue about the salary cap or something, which I never really understand. But to me,
well, they want to cap. They want to cap the amount of the players can make. Well, the market determines that.
Yeah, of course,
right. But the one thing the owners never do is say, well, you ought to have a basement too, a salary cap and a basement. If you want to play in the big league, you have to have at least spend $100 million on a roster. They won't do that. I remember sitting in Busch Stadium with you on your TV show talking about the Cardinals being second to the Dodgers at that time. Was it 2017 or something like that in revenue and ratings?
Yeah.
But I contended at that time that the Cardinals actually had a higher percentage of saturation in the market than the Dodgers, because the LA market is 10 million people. St. Louis is 2.5.
Yeah.
So to have that kind of ratings and revenue, to second to the Dodgers means the Cardinals are in a lot more pockets per capita than Dodgers are in LA.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
At least at that time they were.
Yeah. All right. And finally, we're running out of little time here, but finally, what a surprise. So, with the infusion of DraftKings and Bally's and all this, no offense to them, because they're not causing a gambling problem, but nonetheless, you still have, now suddenly we got some players being hauled in, like the Guardians players, and all this stuff. And then you've got Pete Rose, who is looking down from heaven with both of his arms up there going, excuse me, really, people?
Right. What hypocrites.
Yeah.
What hypocrites. I remember watching at the Dorchester overlooking Forest Park there in like 2016, MLB Network, and they said, we've got a special announcement. We're cutting to the MLB commissioner, Rob Manfred, and he announced that they've reached a multi-billion-dollar deal with MGM as their official gambling partner. And then I expected, and with that, we welcome back Pete Rose. But no, Manfred wouldn't do that. And he didn't do anything. Let Pete Rose die, not knowing that he'd get in the Hall of Fame as all-time hits king in the sport until Trump put pressure on Manfred to reinstate him, which he will. And the historical committee with the Cooperstown will let them, will vote on him in 27. And to be clear, MLB doesn't make that call. It's the writers that actually put him in. But they follow the lead. The writers follow the lead of the MLB. That's for sure. It's ridiculous. It's hypocritical. The all-time hits king, not in Cooperstown.
Yeah, Pete Rose is he. Basically though, he also paid the price for being just a simple white dude from the sticks, and they never forgave him for being a simple white dude from the sticks.
Just like Joe Jackson. And if you ever go to Greenville, South Carolina, you can see his house right next to the minor league field there for the Red Sox. It's really a cool trip and really cool destination. But just like Joe Jackson, Joe didn't have the education, sophistication, know what he was doing.
Yeah.
And when he learned of it, he didn't partake, but he was still held out for the very same reason.
Well, and not to mention the fact that Pete Rose, I'm saying stating the obvious here, didn't bet against his team. He bet for his team,
Yeah. It's okay for the owners to make money off gambling.
Yeah.
Not Pete Rose or any of the players. So
unreal.
It's not like you said, shocker. Infiltrate. That's one thing I hate about. I'm not a gambler. I don't gamble. I don't even like casinos. But players gamble, and because they have the revenue and they're human. And you go to any casino in St. Louis or Las Vegas, plenty of people across all social demographics, right?
Yeah.
So players are, guess what? From all social demographics. So they're not, players, people misunderstand sports stars. They think they're separate from society. They are part of society, just amplified.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. All right. Well, we've got Lou TEVLIN, and check it out at integrity-sports.com, integrity-sports.com. And Lou, it's always good to have you on, man. You are just the St. Louis perspective, or like deep-rooted St. Louis perspective, all the way from San Diego, which I love. So thank you, buddy.
Well, Jamie, thank you. And I can't go off the air here without sending my condolences to you, because your mother was quite a gem, and I know that her spirit lives through you daily.
Well, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Well, that's very sweet. And you just gave me goosebumps, buddy. I love you so much, and thank you so much for that. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right.
You.
That is Lou TEVLIN, people. All right. Speaking of prayers, Donna, who is one of our mainstays here on the 3 Martini Lunch, just mentioned that her granddaughter has been diagnosed with cancer. Her second chemo treatment was yesterday. So, Donna, we are sending a ton of prayers your way, and for your granddaughter as well. What's the future of the Republican Party for 2026 and beyond? Just in a little bit, we got Tim Jones joining us, and coming up next, a gem, another one from Marco Rubio. It's Common Sense Radio.
This app is absolutely fantastic.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
It is awesome.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Hey, got a new one for you. The grasser is always greener. At Grasser Electric. We love that. And Grasser loves you. They love the Allman Report. They love News Talk STL. They love the fact that you guys are all over it when it comes to making sure that you rely on the greatest electric company you're going to find anywhere in the land. And all you have to do is go to grasserelectric.com. They're offering 24-hour emergency service. They can help you with your Christmas lights. I'm not kidding you. All the installation aspects of it, the cords, the timers, all that kind of stuff, they can help you do that. That's a really cool thing that Grasser does. And also making sure that everything in your house is working properly. I always like to say to people that, a lot of us just come up with these little lists of things that are annoying. I have one, and so I've got to get Sean over to the house to take care of it because, like there's a flickering light in my daughter's bathroom, and then there's a switch that isn't working, and something that's hugely annoying, of course, are the outlets that get loose, so they don't hold the plug and everything else, and so like 10 things, and so I'd rather spend time with my kids or writing my novel than doing electrical work or trying anyway, because I'm not any good at it anyway. Hire the pros, and that would be Grasser Electric, because the green is always Grasser at Grasser Electric. It's there. That's what it is. And also, by the way, they're hiring. So if you know people who are fledgling electricians who want to get involved in apprenticeships and in employment with Grasser Electric, they are hiring. GrasserElectric.com. That's GrasserElectric.com.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new Most Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Myella Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmostscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all. Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmostscholars.org. That's herzogmostscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
Colombo and Company.
The shutdown debate is over for now, but not healthcare as Dems roll out a plan to extend Obamacare subsidies. We'll discuss it Thursday. Plus, Justin Sparks, Virginia Kruta, and Randy Tobin.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
That's right, people. Come on. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here with Ashlyn there. Before we get away here, Marco Rubio is so good at what he does. Do you remember the old days when he was kind of almost a nervous wreck, and remember he was running for president and he had this really dumb response to Make America Great Again. He was like, America's already great. It doesn't need to be great. That kind of thing. That didn't go over very well. And then I think he did one time, he did the Republican response to the State of the Union address. And he was talking and he kept on like grabbing water and stuff like that. And we were all just like, Marco, what's wrong with you, dude? Are you okay? Because he was just so nervous and so everything. But man, has he grown into himself over the past 10 years, and he's really good. And he takes zero crap from any of these people who were all bitching about blowing up drug boats and everything else. And this time, the European Union decided unwisely that they were going to open their mouths because keep in mind, the European Union, they're a bunch of Eurotrash ingrates that keep on taking our money and also costing us money with all their stupid little green ideas and all that kind of stuff. And Rubio's like, listen, don't come in here telling us how to protect our country.
I don't think that the European Union gets to determine what international law is. They certainly don't get to determine is how the United States defends its national security. The United States is under attack from organized criminal narco-terrorists in our hemisphere, and the president is responding in the defense of our country. I do find it interesting that all these countries want us to send, and supply, for example, nuclear-capable Tomahawk missiles to defend Europe. But when the United States positions aircraft carriers in our hemisphere where we live, somehow that's a problem. So I would say that the United States and this president has made very clear, his job is to protect the United States from threats against the United States, and that is what he's doing in this operation.
Yeah, in other words, pound sand, seriously. Go back to your tea and crumpets and just let us do the dirty work. And stop asking us for money and everything else and then turning around and criticizing the way we operate, really. Heck, give us missiles for Ukraine, but don't blow up drug boats. Gotcha. Hey, Tim Jones on the way. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
Is your retirement income at risk if you or your spouse needs nursing home or in-home care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. The cost of long-term care is one of the biggest risks in retirement planning. For many retirees, a single nursing home stay can cause a significant reduction in assets that can permanently reduce your retirement income. Fortunately, there are affordable and flexible options available today that can help you manage the cost of long-term care. Our team can help you address the risks relevant to your retirement, including long-term care. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Hi, Chris Arps here. Join me and the team at Royal Banks of Missouri for their annual Economic Forecast Breakfast. The event takes place on Tuesday, November 18th at the factory in the district of the Chesterfield Valley. You'll hear from their experts and get a better understanding of what to expect from the U.S. economy in 2026 and beyond. Doors open at 7:30 a.m. and the program starts at 8 a.m. Attendance is free, but you do need to reserve a spot. You can RSVP by calling 314-212-1595. That's Royal Banks of Missouri.
Columbo here for my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton. The knowledgeable staff at Bluff City has served the St. Louis outdoor community for decades, and they can take care of all your bow hunting needs, all your trapping needs, all your fishing needs, and more. Plus, while you're there, you can schedule a trip with a local fishing guide and shoot in their archery range. Bluff City Outdoors is open 7 days a week, 1 mile east of Fast Eddie's at 2813 East Broadway in Alton. Follow them on Facebook and at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
KLGY HD3 Clay, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. There's word today that Pennsylvania Democrat Senator John Fetterman has been hospitalized after a fall near his home. Staff say he fell and sustained injuries to his face while taking a walk with his dog, and that he was hospitalized, in their words, out of an abundance of caution. President Trump jubilant last night as he sat down to sign a bill to reopen the federal government.
It's an honor now to sign this incredible bill and get our country working again. Thank you very much.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries explained why he opposed the bill to get the government back up and running.
It fails to address the Republican health care crisis, and it fails to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credit.
Now, Speaker Mike Johnson says it was really all about Democrat politics, and they knew it would hurt the American people.
The Democrats openly admitted, many of them said it in their own words, that they used the American people as leverage in this political game. They knew that it would cause that pain to the people, and they did it anyway.
Federal agencies reopened today. Furloughed workers returning to their jobs while back pay begins rolling out later this week, and the deal funds most agencies through January 30th. The parents of at least 2 babies sickened in an infant botulism outbreak are suing the makers of the ByHeart baby formula, the company at the heart of the nationwide recall. Here's correspondent Marcela Sanchez.
At least 15 infants across a dozen states who have fallen ill since the outbreak began in early August. Federal and state officials say no deaths have been reported. ByHeart recalled all of its formula across the U.S. on Tuesday.
The lawsuits filed in federal courts in 2 states allege that the ByHeart formula the babies consumed was defective and the company was negligent in selling it. They seek financial payment for medical bills, emotional distress, and other harm. It's a hard day for stocks right now on Wall Street. The Dow is off by 636 points. The Nasdaq down about 569. More from townhall.com.
Every time I turn around, my friends at Pure Talk give me one more reason to feel good about switching. This month, for instance, they're supporting Canines for Warriors, a terrific organization that trains rescue dogs and then pairs them up with combat veterans struggling with PTSD. The result? They're saving lives on both ends of the leash. This is why I switched to Pure Talk. I like being in business with an American wireless company who shares my values. Yeah, I appreciate unlimited talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, and I bet you will too. But I think you'll really appreciate doing business with a company who gives back to the men and women who volunteered to defend our country. Just dial pound 250, say micro. With Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, you can switch in as little as 10 minutes. Again, dial pound 250, say micro, to switch to an American wireless company who actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Sunny skies, mild temperatures, looking good out there today. That high temperature in the mid-60s. We're going to enjoy it. Light winds coming in out of the southeast. Lows tonight near 50. The high tomorrow getting into the 70s. And again on Saturday, the mid to upper 70s, man. It is really going to be nice and warm. Gets a little bit breezy at times. We'll look at some rain chances by next week. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michaels Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michaels has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michaels Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
This holiday season, help Feed My People fill the shelves. News Talk STL and the STL County GOP are partnering for an annual food drive, November 10th through December 21st. Drop off your non-perishable food donations at all Bartolino's restaurants, all Chris's Pancakes and dining locations, and all 3 Michaels Flooring outlets, or at the News Talk STL studios.
Hey, it's Chris Arps, and together, we can make a difference for families in need.
Visit newstalkstl.com for complete drop-off locations. News, analysis.
I'm glad you're talking about this.
Opinion.
I'm glad you're fired up about it, too, because I know I am.
News Talk STL.
Tastes like strawberries on a summer evening, and it sounds just like a song. I want more berries and that summer feeling. It's so wonderful and warm. Breathe me in, breathe me out.
Good afternoon, everyone. Beautiful little day to breathe. Nice little sweet sunny day.
I don't know if I could ever go without watermelon sugar high, watermelon sugar high.
Yesterday, our friend Julie reported being at the park and this time swinging during lunch on a swing set, having her ham sandwich. And you guys have so much fun. Cheery people are always welcome here at the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Whatever happened to Harry Styles, by the way? My daughters loved him at one point, but he just kind of disappeared. I just thought Harry Styles was pretty cool. If you guys don't know by now, this song is called Watermelon Sugar. So I pick up on things pretty easily, don't I? They don't pay me the big bucks here for nothing, you know. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, It's our friend Tim Jones. How you doing, brother?
Good afternoon, Jamie. I'm doing great today. Happy Thursday.
Tim Jones, Christopher Arps, 4 o'clock every day here at News Talk STL. And brother, you guys always have a rocking show, and I appreciate you guys so much. And I wanted to talk to you. Well, first of all, before we get to the 2026 election, because I think, we've talked about this before, but I don't think we can talk about it enough about the need to realize, first of all, that President Trump is not going to be there in 2028. We don't want a bunch of people who we know right now are waiting for him to leave so they could try to bring the party back to the Republican party that it's always been. And so and to the point where they might even undermine the likes of J.D. Vance and others. And on the other hand, too, we have a situation where we can't let the Republican Party, who I think some of them want this to happen, just simply cement in the lame duck status of President Trump, which is why 2026 is hugely important in shoring up the Make America Great Again movement in Congress, especially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Jamie, Republicans, I mean, look, for selfish reasons only, and that's most of the time what they do when you're talking about politicians, is they do things for selfish reasons only. But for selfish reasons only, Jamie, if they want to stay anywhere near political power, they're going to have to admit and embrace the America First agenda. Jamie, we had Chris Salcido on our show yesterday. He is a very famous national leader in the Hispanic conservative movement. He's a proud Latino. He's had a show on Newsmax for like 15 years. So this guy was like at the tip of the spear of the conservative renaissance amongst Hispanic Americans. And he explained to us why. And it's what we all know, right? Hispanic Latinos, by their very nature, are small c conservative people. They're entrepreneurs. They're very hard workers. They don't believe in killing life in the womb. They don't believe in all the woke DEI crap. But on the other hand, the Democrats, of course, have been overly catering to them, promising them everything, the sun, moon, and the stars, until Donald Trump kind of broke through that blue wall and turned them all red. And Chris was adamant as a Hispanic American, a proud Latino. He said, you had better, Republican Party, continue to embrace the America First agenda and not go back to the stuffy, boring, failed establishment party of the past. And why? Well, Jamie, we don't have to. How about just look at the facts? Donald Trump has won twice, and now the popular vote for the first time in 20 years. Mitt Romney's candidacy, epic fail. John McCain's candidacy, epic fail. People, if you're going to continue to have Republicans controlling the levers of power, which I would prefer over the commie socialist Marxist Party, formerly known as the Democrats, they better realize how they got to these positions of power that they now have inherited in the first place.
Yeah, when you look at what's going on too, and I wanted to ask you too, because there's something afoot here as it relates to all this polling and all that kind of thing. And to me, it seems like there's this big lie. I mean, first of all, when we saw what happened, how the media operates, we saw that yesterday when they purposely pushed a total lie about Trump and the Epstein files and this email and all that kind of stuff. People have since obviously realized what a sham that whole thing was, but the media went with it because they're looking for anything to kind of downgrade President Trump's performance. So they keep on harping on these poll numbers that somehow show that people aren't happy with the way things are going. And I find that hard to believe.
Yeah, Jamie, Democrats ultimately could give a rip about anybody or anything, right? They're really on the road to nowhere. I mean, they are pursuing politics these days purely for power, right? Because tell me, what is one good public policy position that today's Democratic Party is pursuing for Americans? They claim that the shutdown was about ensuring health care for all Americans. First of all, Democrats really couldn't give a rip whether Americans have access to good health care, bad health care, cheap health care, or expensive health care. Only 24 million people, period, are on Obamacare anyway, less than 10% of the population. And so they're already talking to a very small number of Americans. But even as to those Americans, Democrats could really care less. They were pursuing the shutdown for no other purpose than what you said, to hurt Donald Trump and Republicans, because the Republicans and Donald Trump were on a roll this year. The economy was experiencing over 3% GDP growth 2 quarters in a row for the first. They were freaking out, Jamie, about what everybody thinks about when they go to the polls, and that is their pocketbooks. The affordability crisis, how rich is that? Democrats created the affordability crisis, and now they and their media allies are blaming it on Republicans. Democrats created the failed Obamacare plan, and now they're blaming it on Republicans that Obamacare is a failure. You can't make this stuff up.
I know.
Pay attention to it.
Speaking of that, because the affordability word is interesting, because I want to, once again, and I've heard conservatives going this direction, we have allowed the left to define what the issue is. So they throw out this thing called affordability. And to me, in their mind, affordability is translated into an entitlement. Like everybody is entitled to having affordable things. And so then I've heard so many conservatives say, we got to talk about affordability more. We got to talk about affordability more. You mean get dragged in to a word that doesn't really mean anything, because it's not really about affordability. It's about creating the environment, the economy, where you have a wide variety of levels of competition that create lower prices. And so, and the Democrats have no intention whatsoever of creating an economic environment like that. They just want prices to go down. And it's like, well, okay, so who does it? But I don't know why we're adopting their language again.
No, we absolutely shouldn't. We should continue to go back to talk about things where Republicans are on firm footing. From Reagan through Trump, we have always, as Republicans, as conservatives, as conservatarians, talked about the importance of having a growth economy. I heard Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, one of the many excellent communicators that Donald Trump has in Trump's 2.0 White House. And he said, here's how you make things affordable. Inflation goes down, wages go up. Inflation goes down, wages go up. And so, you know what that is? That's called the growth economy. This idea that, yes, Republicans should be adopting this language of affordability. You're adopting the word that Democrats caused to be the problem.
Yes.
It's Democrats that create, they are so good. What did Barack Obama say? Never let a good crisis, one of his, maybe it was Axelrod or one of those, of those gang. Never let a good crisis go to waste. Boy, are they proving that time and time again. The Democrats created the affordability crisis by ratcheting up inflation to double-digit rates during Biden, and we're still recovering from that. Biden and his henchmen were in office for 4 years and did 4 years of massive destructive damage. Donald Trump is trying to turn and has turned this massive Titanic of an economy around. And so just keep doing more of the same. Tax cuts and growth are what are going to get us out of things. And then everything will be, I guess, more affordable.
Yeah, well, right, exactly. Well, it's kind of like when Obamacare came around, they just called it healthcare. So are you for healthcare? It's like, yeah, I'm for healthcare. I'm just not for Obamacare. And it's like the same thing they do with the Green Revolution. They call it just climate. You support climate?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Jamie, we should do more of what JD Vance often does, because he is such an excellent debater. He oftentimes, when confronted with these horribly hostile, evil people on the major news networks, he will refuse to accept the premise of their question.
Yes.
Right? You hear him say that all the time. I don't agree with what you're saying here, Martha. Talking to Martha Raddatz or one of the others, or Kristen Welker. I don't accept the premise of your question, because oftentimes, Jamie, yes, they're trying to lead you to the answer that they want you to propose by adopting their words, when you shouldn't even go down that rabbit hole in the first place.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great observation about JD Vance. Now that you mention it, that happens a lot. And he's good. I mean, that's very unlike Republicans we've seen in the past who will just simply bite on anything that you put before them. So it's like, that's a great observation.
Yeah, the first question they should ask, Jamie, is, whoa, affordability. You say we have to solve the affordability crisis. Who created the affordability crisis in the first place? That would be the first thing I would ask back to the interrogator and put them back on their heels.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Speaking of J.D. Vance, so I know that at one point there was some talk about Ted Cruz maybe running into. I mean, and certainly Marco Rubio at some point. Is there, based on the people you're talking to and some of the experts and some of the people who are fundraising and taking care of the politics out there, is it a foregone? I mean, I hope it is, but I mean, because otherwise we don't want to get into the situation where we got a whole new playing field. And J.D. Vance has got to be the presumptive nominee in 2028, correct?
I would think so. Anytime you have a viable vice presidential person, then they're automatically the presumptive nominee in my mind, Jamie, until they're not.
Yeah.
And J.D. Vance, on paper and in action, is your perfectly viable candidate. Now, it's an open seat. I wouldn't blame Republicans for wanting just to make sure that it's the right choice.
Yeah.
Test the waters, check the issues. I don't see a lot of people running, though. And I'm not convinced that Marco Rubio even takes a shot at this point, although he might be encouraged to do so, because I think he has found his career path. He is such an excellent, I mean, you were talking about this earlier in your program. What a remarkable turnaround and what an evolution of Marco Rubio into an excellent America First mature statesman.
I mean, he's so good at this. I mean, he's a tough guy, and he has really grown into that role. And it just goes to show you too how, I think as conservatives, I think these guys are really mature, because it's only 10 years ago that President Trump was deriding him as little Marco and all this kind of stuff. And Trump is, for all of the attacks on his personality and everything else, this guy is totally magnanimous. I mean, he doesn't hold, maybe a little bit, maybe to a certain degree, with grudges, but he doesn't seem to hold too many grudges. There are a lot of people who've wronged him and undermined him that he has invited back into his sphere.
Think about what discussions could be being had, and maybe only in people's heads right now, but I'll bet you, Jamie, that there's various discussions being had all across Washington, D.C. about the 2028 ticket. And the offer might be made for Marco Rubio to be the vice presidential running mate. Because look, what are you always looking for in a vice president? Well, you're basically looking for either demographics or geographics, right? You're looking for a person to attract a certain voting block, or you're looking to shore up a certain state or two. In J.D. Vance's situation, it was to shore up kind of that greater upper middle West, right? Just to make sure that Ohio was firmly red, and to help with Pennsylvania, which was a huge key state, the Keystone State, in the last election. Well, with Marco Rubio, what were we just talking about? Making sure that Hispanic Americans, Latinos, and Latinas, not Latinxes, whatever that was, making sure that they continue to embrace the America First agenda. And so Marco Rubio, who has proven himself as an excellent orator, not just on the national, but on the world stage, and a strong advocate for that significant voting block, and a guy that everyone could easily see as vice presidential, if not presidential timber. And then doesn't that just nicely set him up? How about, Jamie, we have a long run of Republican presidents for like the rest of you and I's lifetime.
I know.
So we don't crater the country to these crazed ass commie Marxists that have taken over the Democrat Party.
Right. And I think, and we still have to, in order to make that happen, I think we're going to have to battle not just Democrats, but also some Republicans. So we got to make sure we fumigate this party once and for all by 2026. And I was going to ask you where Erica Kirk is from, because because here's the thing, I'm not quite sure, because some people are talking about that because they always look at the male female optics, but your point really is interesting, because really, in order for a VP ticket to that part of the ticket to be successful, is you have to be able to imagine them as president of the United States. And JD Vance, everybody could at that point. And I love Erica Kirk and everything else, but you have to, as much as she kind of has that sentimental type of conservative love going for her, the reality is you have to get to a point where you can see her as president. And I'm not quite sure at this point I could do that, but down the line, I imagine I could.
Well, she was just catapulted into the public eye. And so I think everybody should give her a little bit of time to see if she's even interested in such a thing. But that is an interesting, I hadn't heard of that notion. I think that's interesting indeed. But you're right, Jamie. Look, the minute someone says so-and-so should be the president or the vice president, what's everyone's first reaction? Can I see them in the White House?
Yeah.
Like, that's the it factor that a lot of people either have or in most cases don't have.
Right, exactly. All right, so I learned a long time ago, because it wound up being a problem, I no longer get involved in other people's fights. And I mean personal fights or beefs or what have you. And I made the mistake throughout my life of actually, taking sides in some spat or whatever. And I'm just not doing that anymore. And I feel that way, with the exception, I did defend Tucker Carlson against people like Ben Shapiro and some of these other guys. I didn't think, I think Nick Fuentes is a tool. And like I used an example of my son, Aiden, who's 21, used to listen to Nick Fuentes' podcast and has since, like a lot of his friends, totally abandoned Fuentes. But that doesn't mean that Tucker shouldn't talk to him or do whatever, because he does have some things to say, and some people do. Obviously, people do listen to him and like him. So I don't like all this. I stay away from all this. Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens. It seems like so high school to me that I don't even know what to do with it.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what to do with it. Look, on one hand, as you and I know each other to be very committed free speech advocates, I say you talk to whoever you want to talk to about whatever you want to talk about. On the other hand, I think people should not patronize people who we know are just completely and utterly stupid and wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know Nick Fuentes, Jamie, hardly from a hole in the wall. Like, I know who the guy is. I don't know that I've ever listened to a single thing he's ever said. I don't know that I don't even know if I would recognize his voice if I heard him. I'm just not interested in the guy. I think he's just a little, like you said, I think he's just a little tool weasel grifter is all he is. And he's found his stupid little lane, and people are willing to support whatever it is that he's spouting. Now, on the other hand, Jamie, let's think about this. How come every time, and I'm just making an analogy here, and people can be angry at me if they want or not. How come every time someone in the liberal media sits down with someone who we know is a tyrannical, despotic dictator, like when somebody from NBC News sits down with Vladimir Putin, what do they say, Jamie? Oh, they're so brave. They're so courageous. Oh, what a wonderful interview. But the minute a conservative sits down with an inflammatory figure, you're automatically castigated as a racist, a misogynist, as a sexist. Why are you platforming that person?
Yeah, right.
So how come the left can have deep, probing conversations with dangerous people, but the right can't? That's what I don't understand. And I guess it's that whole thing that conservatives, it's a double-edged sword. And with conservatives, we're never allowed to do things that the left is allowed to get away with all the time.
Oh yeah, I mean they'll platform anti-white bigots. They'll platform murderous assassins, like the guy who killed the insurance. They love these guys.
Saddam Hussein back during the 90s.
Yeah. And, my son, actually, Aiden stopped really paying attention to a whole lot to Fuentes. It wasn't over whether it be the anti-Semitism thing or whatever, but it was because Fuentes has this really weird aggression towards women. And my son didn't dig that. He's got a girlfriend and everything else. And he was like, he that was the thing that drove him kind of off. But again, Tucker, the only thing that the problem with that interview was that, like, Tucker normally is pretty invasive on people when he's interviewing them. Like he'll hold people to account. I remember that interview with Ted Cruz,
Yes.
But he didn't do that with Nick Fuentes, which is what everybody was freaking out about.
And that's what he got in trouble for, right?
Yeah,
He didn't deploy his usual tactics, right?
Yeah.
So one interview looked hardcore and the other one looked like soft glove. And on the other hand, again, the free speech absolutists these days will say, that anybody, the cure for speech you don't like is not less speech or controlled speech or censored speech. It's more speech. Crush bad ideas with good ones.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be on Team Tucker over those other people any day. So that's that. Okay. And real quickly, because I know I've taken a lot of your time here, but on the local front, it looks like we're pretty well set up for 2026 in Missouri, correct?
Yes. Ballot issues, Jamie, are the big kahuna. There's going to likely be 3. The left is trying to rescind the 7-1 congressional map, the Missouri First, America First congressional map that was proposed by Governor Mike Kehoe at the request of the Trump White House. So they're going to try to repeal that. They're going to call it Republican gerrymandering. So they're going to try to do that. You should vote no against that if it makes it to the ballot. And Jamie will have Amendment 3 and Amendment 4 next year. Amendment 3 will repeal and replace that godless, demonic abortion on demand gender ideology that was deceptively shoved into our Constitution last year. So you'll want to vote yes on 3, and you'll want to vote yes on 4 to finally get a handle on out-of-state, out-of-country, left-wing billionaires from hijacking the Missouri Constitution in the first place. Initiative, petition, reform. So don't repeal the Missouri First map and vote yes on 3 and 4.
All right, man.
That'll be the big fights next year.
I know. And it's going to, we always think it always seems like it's so far away, but it's going to be right on us in no time. All right, Tim, we will be listening to you and Chris Arps on the Tim Jones and Christopher Arps show coming up at 4:00. So appreciate all your time here, brother.
Thank you, Jamie. Always great to be with you on your program. Thanks for having me.
You too, man. Thank you so much, Tim. Good man right there, Tim Jones. And great show, Tim Jones and Christopher Arps. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
Watermelon sugar high, 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 watermelon sugar high.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hanson's Tree Service. I just really love Chad and the gang. And of course, I first met Chad when he was a young whippersnapper. He's son of Jeff Hanson, who is the creator of Hanson's Tree Service. And Chad has just, of course, we lost Jeff, unfortunately, and tragically a while back. And Chad had to pick up the mantle and make it all just keep chugging along. And he did. He even improved all kinds of wonderful things because just like his dad would have wanted him to. And he just made, brought it into the time. And his dad would be so proud of what Hanson's Tree Service is doing and continuing it on that great tradition of not only great pricing, but also fabulous service. Trucks are all labeled. Everybody's uniformed. They've got all kinds of different blades of mulch and colors of mulch for you. Cause it seems like winter. I know we get snow and stuff like that, but it seems like winter is really not much of a thing here. So a lot of people continue on with their yard work or they get their mulching done or whatever happens to be, even during sometimes the winter month. One of the key, obviously, too, is that you're going to have to watch out for is you're going to have to make sure that your trees, because we're going to have a really tough winter again, just like we had last year. And then you couple that with the tough summer that we had. I'm talking about the heat, hard on trees. And so you don't want, during this time where there's icing over or whatever, you don't want a situation where the limbs and the trees are coming down on your people or your property. So right now, financing plans available to get those trees taken down, deadwooding and pruning. Have Jesse Knoll and the other guys come out. They're the tree doctors, and look at what's going on, and they will make it happen for you at Hanson's Tree Service, hansonstree.com, hansonstree.com.
Kathy Connor from Connor Roofing is here. Kathy, how you doing?
Good. Hi, Vic.
You know, when you need a roof, I don't want to call a stranger. I want to call you.
Yeah, thanks. At Connor Roofing, we're more than just a roofing company.
How long you been doing it?
Since 1993.
And year after year, storm after storm, you guys are always there.
Because this is our home too, Vic. Our kids go to school with your kids. We cheer for the same teams. Go Blues!
So support your neighbors. Call Connor Roofing at 314-375-7475 or CONNER roofing.com.
Thanks, Vic.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Why leave your company's story to chance? In today's digital world, video content isn't just an option. It's essential for your success. At Blue Ocean Media Group, we've spent decades crafting compelling visual stories for businesses just like yours. From concept to completion, our award-winning team transforms your vision into powerful video content that connects with your audience and drives results. Don't trust your brand to amateurs. Partner with Blue Ocean Media Group. Visit blueoceanmediagroup.com today, and let's bring your story to life.
Conservative talk for St. Louis.
It's your patriotic right and duty.
The government needs to step up and do its job.
This is News Talk STL.
It's well-balanced conversation.
News, analysis, opinion.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL. I have to tell you that rap mogul Diddy Combs, I have to admit, as much as I despise his acts and who he is, I have to give these guys credit for finding a way to drink in prison, which I'm like, wow, you people. And because it's just a 3 martini lunch, we're like always all ears when it comes to what's going on with drinking. So anyway, I just realized, and I'm wondering, I wouldn't try this because I would rather just go to the liquor store and buy it. But nonetheless, apparently these guys, and Combs, now his release date's been pushed back. So because he's like he made like an illegal phone call or something. So obviously he thinks he's kind of above the law. But apparently these guys in prison figured out a way to make liquor. So what they do is they use like Fanta orange soda or any Fanta. I guess that's what they serve at the prison is Fanta soda. And then they use sugar and apples. And then they ferment it. Yeah, I guess that means, and fermenting, I guess, means you just let it sit there forever and eventually it turns into alcohol. So that's how they make they make liquor. So anytime you guys are hard up or your refrigerator's empty, liquor cabinet, whatever, now you know Fanta, sugar, and apples. You can make the liquor out of. That's inventive, though. I mean, I know they're criminals and bad people and everything, but you have to give them props for figuring that out. You know, like doing their moonshine in prison. All right, this is you guys. This is so incredible that we are in a situation where this issue is getting so little attention. So there's a suspect in the planting of the pipe bomb at the RNC and DNC headquarters on the 5th of January. It was the night before the Capitol thing happened, and the FBI still hasn't found the person who has done that, although there is a suspicion that this person is, in fact, a Capitol police officer. She has been named. There are some people who have done some research on what is going on here, and in terms of even comparing the way the person walks and everything else, and then deciding that's probably the person who planted the pipe bombs. And one of the things I didn't really realize, and maybe I should have, but I didn't really realize it, but that was the whole pretense for closing the Capitol. I mean, and maybe you guys knew that. I don't know. You guys might have already known that. So but for some reason it didn't occur to me, because I was trying to figure out, well, why wasn't the Capitol open? Like, for instance, you've seen it where you have all the little left wingers who are always running around the Capitol hallways when the Congress is in session. And so I was wondering, like, why was it closed on January 6th? Well, the pipe bombs were the pretense to close the Capitol, which, in my opinion, further advances my theory that this was a complete and total setup. It was everything that happened was designed and, in fact, coerced. It's already been admitted, Christopher Wray, after having lied to Congress, has admitted there were as many as 75 federal agents in the crowd at the time. And there were also a lot of documented evidence that there were people who were behind the crowd, pushing them towards the gates, which is a common tactic in third world countries and in getting people to basically riot. And then, of course, you have all kinds of other nefarious things happening. So to me, it's of course makes all the sense in the world that the person who planted these pipe bombs had to be somebody who was part of the deep state, part of the government, what have you, with the intention of setting the pretense of closing the Capitol, therefore for creating anybody who walked into the Capitol, creating criminals out of them. That's just how it turns out. So anyway, Thomas Massie, who is from Kentucky, and some people like him, they think he's conservative, some people think he's a rhino, whatever. But apparently he has attempted to sabotage the FBI investigation into this J6 pipe bomb thing. So on Wednesday, this is yesterday, Massie said he received a troubling letter, basically which accuses the FBI of retaliating against a whistleblower regarding the pipe bomb investigation. And the letter accused the FBI of trying to identify and dox the unnamed whistleblower. And Thomas Massie sent this letter, Kash Patel, retaliation against whistleblowers is against federal law. You know that, right? So anyway, Dan Bongino decided he was going to get up all in the grill of Thomas Massie and basically said, hey, listen, man, you're so duplicitous. He said, we spoke for 10 minutes on Wednesday morning. Bongino offered him an in-person briefing. Massie refused the offer, then deliberately ignored calls from Bongino on Wednesday night when Bongino tried to make the offer again. And he put screenshots. What Bongino did was he put screenshots up that showed that he tried to call him, and Massey just refused to pick up or do anything else. And this is, he looked at him, Tom Massey, he showed all the things, and he finally said, Congressman Massey, when Director Patel and I entered our duty in our leadership positions in the FBI, we had our hands full, but we were happy to be part of the president's team, and we still are. Despite the multitude of challenges we faced, one of our first initiatives was to find out exactly, get to the bottom of this and figure out what's going on. And now you're basically trying to sabotage what we're trying to do. And the FBI under Biden, this was in early January, released this new footage of the January 6th pipe bomber, and it basically shows that the FBI in the end of all this just stopped looking for a suspect under the Biden administration, and even for that matter, covered up the evidence. So once we find out about this person, we'll be further in on the attempt to get to the bottom of the truth about January 6th. Because it was a total and complete setup. History can be a tough thing, especially when it's updated right before your eyes, and we plan on doing that for the next 10 years. This is the 3 Martini Lunch. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
I wish I never knew. I wish I never knew you. I'm like always shaking my body, always something innocent. My heart is seeking me to cut. All there is over when I wish I didn't.
Free speech is alive and well in America right here.
It's about time somebody stood up for true American values.
What this country needs is some backbone.
Finally, a president who wants to make real change.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about Newstedter's Fine Jewelry, and I just love this family. I love what they do, and this is really super important when it comes to making sure that Christmas is a beautiful time, or maybe there's an engagement on the way, whatever. They have the lab-grown diamonds and they have the mine diamonds, and it just depends on your preference. Some of the younger people like the lab-grown diamonds because mining diamonds in their mind is a little bit something they just don't want to get involved in. That's fine. Either way, you can be happy because the lab-grown diamonds are no different than the lab-grown flowers you're buying in the Schnucks flower department, that kind of thing. So these are beautiful diamonds, and that's where we get the wow diamonds part of all of this. And Jackie Newstetter is the one who came up with the beautiful words wow diamonds. So wowdiamonds.com is where you can find them. On top of that, people, they also have these beautiful gemstones that you can put in any kind of necklace or ring or whatever it happens to be. And also, ladies and gents, you can get the bull of a watch. This is a really cool thing. I have my Frank Sinatra bull of a watch that everybody compliments me on when they see it. And it's a great gift. It's kind of really hugely stylish, and it's exactly the kind of watch that Frank Sinatra wore. So it's got some old school vintage character to it. They have layaway program, and you can still take part in that because Christmas is still a ways away, and you can lay away when you are buying any kind of piece of jewelry. And of course, they have the wish list as well. Lots of people sell jewelry. Lots of people sell diamonds, but not everybody is a jeweler who's doing so. They are at Newsteaders Fine Jewelry, Doherty Ferry, and Big Bend. WowDiamonds.com.
Hello, Kirk Hilsinger, Chairman of the Republican Party, City of St. Louis. Join us for our Christmas party on December 11th. Tickets may be purchased by cash or check, or you may purchase tickets through our website at stl-gop.com. We'll have dinner and silent auction. In addition, we will be collecting donations for Toys for Tots. So bring an unwrapped toy for a family in need. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we look forward to fighting for you in 2026.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
When water troubles strike, call the family you can trust. Tim Jones here for Ambassador Plumbing, serving our community since 2018 with 25 years of master plumbing expertise from Tim Morris and his handpicked team. Whether it's a simple faucet repair or a complete bathroom remodel, if water runs to it or through it, they do it. From residential service calls to commercial to new construction, the folks at Ambassador are your neighbors treating you like family. Ambassador Plumbing, where faith meets craftsmanship. 636-383-6932 or ambassadorplumbing.com. That's ambassadorplumbing.com.
Hi, this is St. Louis County Councilman Mark Harder reminding you to check out my new show this weekend.
The St. Louis County Insider with Councilman Mark Harder.
That's me. Every Sunday evening at 5, we will explore with you behind-the-scenes stories and information that you won't hear anywhere else. Plus, we talk to decision makers and influencers that have impact on what's going on in St. Louis County and beyond.
The St. Louis County Insider with Councilman Mark Harder.
I'll talk to you Sunday night at 5, only on News Talk STL.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint, formulated to outsmart the elements. Rain or shine, sleet or snow, mold or mildew. Our home exterior coatings intelligently designed to stand up to Mother Nature. Call 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Columbo and Company.
The shutdown debate is over for now, but not healthcare as Dems roll out a plan to extend Obamacare subsidies. We'll discuss Thursday. Plus, Justin Sparks, Virginia Kruta, and Randy Tobin.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here and Ashlyn over there. 101.9 and 94.1, y'all. Looks like the Boeing labor thing is over. The union has accepted Boeing's latest offer. And so everything is cool, looks like. Great company there, Boeing is, with great workers, which is why it's kind of like, especially when there's a Boeing strike or something like that, it's kind of hard to take sides necessarily because it's basically like two really good entities fighting over something, you know? Boeing has done some really great work in this community, and they wouldn't be able to do it without their workers. So I'm glad this thing has righted itself, because it's kind of like watching your parents fight, you know? It's kind of like, well, we'd rather you guys just didn't fight at all. All right, so listen to this. Abby Phillips is on CNN. She is a liberal. It's interesting because her personality she's a liberal, but her personality really isn't annoying the way most other liberal news personalities are. She's pretty and she gives, what's his nuts over there? What's his name? I always remember his name, damn it. The conservative guy. I don't know why I forgot his name. She gives him, the attention, and asks him what's going on. Scott Jennings. What's wrong with me? Anyway, so she doesn't present herself as negatively as a lot of these other people do. And she kind of presides over these fights and things like that, but she does it pretty well. So, but she's wrong most of the time. And so she did, though, say this yesterday about the H-1B program, and President Trump, thankfully, is changing this because it's a total racket. Aside from, by the way, Sean Duffy canceling 17,000 CDL licenses in California that are being held by illegals. But this program is similar to the horse trading of driver's licenses and all this other stuff, because what happens is they have the H-1B program. You have basically a system where you have basically like temp agencies, and they get from the government a stack of these green cards, and they start hiring a bunch of people who take advantage of the H-1B program. So there are facilitators of the H-1B program. These are bundlers, and they get these H-1B visas. And so all they're doing then at that point, and thanks to Republicans and Democrats, by the way, the H-1B program was prolifically used during the Bush administration so his Republican buddies could get a bunch of cheap labor. And now what we have here really are a subculture of mainly like people from India and stuff who are just basically cheap labor, and in St. Louis and beyond. And so President Trump is finally saying, enough of this. It's a racket. These are jobs Americans definitely will do. These companies that claim that they need these individuals are basically lying. All they want to do is get to a situation where they don't have to pay them. The old argument used to be, well, these foreign workers don't take maternity leave. They don't call in sick. They don't take vacations. They don't need health care or whatever it happens to be, all the benefits. And so the American worker's expensive, said all the Bushies. But anyway, Abby Phillip has a really good point to make. And so it's true that even blind squirrels find a nut every once in a while.
H-1Bs right now are not going to shipbuilders.
Because they don't build ships here.
Well, yeah, but also
that's why
because
they're not
if
going
you're
there.
building, if you're building ships for the U.S. military, you're probably not doing it on an H-1B. That's the first thing. But the second thing is they're trying to sort of like shoehorn this policy into their tariff policy, and it's really not that. I do think the H-1B program needs some attention. It needs some degree of reform.
Abby, do you want the next
seems-
Einstein to come to America or to Shanghai? What do you want?
It's about and that's Kevin O'Leary, and that's the usual shtick of these guys. Is that well, we've got to do everything we can to get the next Einstein here in America, and that's such baloney. And Kevin O'Leary has to know that this whole idea of like trying to make sure that we get the Einstein coming over here. The whole H-1B visa program is solely designed as a cheap labor mill, and the government and the people supporting the H-1B visa program aren't fooling anybody. I could go and ask a 3-year-old what the H-1B program is, and they'll tell me it's a cheap labor racket. I mean, this is not a mystery to anybody with any kind of common sense. We know what you're doing. And so that's why Kevin O'Leary is so full of it. It's like, you want the next Einstein to
attention. It needs some degree of reform.
Abby, do you want the next Einstein to come to America or to Shanghai? What do you want? It's about fighting for talent.
He was brilliant. It's about fighting for talent. That is such nonsense. And everybody knows it. And good for Abby Phillip to state it, because, it might actually behoove Democrats if they want to be like find something to be right on, because if they're not right on anything, then this would probably be good to step up and fight for the American worker. I don't want to give any free advice here, but you know what I'm saying. That might be something, hey, listen, Democrats, I'll throw you a little bone here and give you a little tip that maybe that might be your next thing.
Against the H-1B visa, folks. I'm the daughter of immigrants. Both my parents are naturalized citizens of this country.
So you should be for bringing people here.
I am saying there are real concerns that people have about companies that abuse the system.
We're talking about genius, bringing 65,000 geniuses to America.
This is such crap. How can this guy how can Kevin O'Leary really say this with a straight face? Talking about bringing geniuses. Come on. You're bringing a bunch of slave labor here, and everybody knows it. There might be a couple of geniuses in there, but not many of them. Anyway, that's our story, and we're sticking to it, ladies and gentlemen. Ashlyn, thank you so much. You guys, thank you as well. This is Common Sense Radio. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Tony Colombo and Company, straight up.
Want to work with a winner? Follow the multiplier. 279 times growth in total market cap in the past nearly 30 years. 50 times growth in client assets. And ranked the #1 wealth management firm for employee advisor satisfaction by J.D. Power 3 years in a row. Choose a winner. Choose Stifel, where success meets success. Stifel Nicholas.